Jai Hind viewers, welcome back to the Global Strategic and Defense News. Today, I'm starting a new program on the GSDN called Facts and Figures, in which I shall be dealing in each episode on various current and contemporary topics which affect us all in some way or the other. The reason why I have started this solo program of mine is that in the last 1 month, ever since the ghastly and horrendous Pelgam terrorist attack happened, which was sponsored by Pakistan and had Pakistani armed and trained terrorists in that, I've seen that in various public domains, there's a lot of misinformation, especially so in the Western media. Hence, I decided to start this program of mine, Facts and Figures, in which I have picked up information from credible sources and I've analyzed it without any biases. I request all of you to like the program, to forward it maximum, and to subscribe to the YouTube channel in case you haven't so far. And also the most important, do leave your comments in the comment section after you have seen the entire program. Because your comments are the most valuable for me. I too learn a lot from you. You know, Amitabh Bachchan famously said many years back, life is a long learning process. Yes, I agree with him. We all learn from each other, each passing day, each passing minute. So in case you feel that I have erred somewhere, do mention it in the comment section. Like I said, I too learn a lot from each one of you. The first episode today of Facts and Figures is on 1 month of the Pelgam terrorist attack. First and foremost, I pay my homage to the 25 Indian citizens and 1 Nepali citizen killed in the Pelgam terrorist attack on 22nd April this year. My homage to the 16 Indian citizens killed along the line of control in the firing carried out by Pakistan. My salute and respect to the 5 Indian soldiers who made the supreme sacrifice for India during Operation Sindoor. My heartfelt condolences to all the bereaved families of the 26 people killed in the Pelgam terrorist attack, the 16 Indian citizens killed in the LOC firing, and the families of the 5 soldiers of the Indian Army. My salute and respect to the Government of India, the Indian Army, the Indian Navy, and the Indian Air Force for the successful conduct of the Operation Sindoor. We shall go in military history as one of the swiftest and the most successful military campaigns, and the shortest, of course, one of the shortest. Well, today, like I said, I'll talk about 1 month of the Pelgam terrorist attack. My talk shall be in 6 phases. In phase 1, the Pelgam terrorist attack. In phase 2, India's immediate response. In phase 3, Operation Sindoor. In phase 4, Operation Bunyan al-Marsoos. In phase 5, the outcomes. And the last phase would be the road ahead. Coming on to phase 1, that is the Pelgam terrorist attack. Well, the Pelgam terrorist attack took place on 22nd April this year at around 2:30 in the afternoon when 4 Pakistani armed and trained terrorists entered about 150 kilometers inside the line of control and killed hapless and innocent tourists who were on a holiday to the Besaran Meadows, which is about 5 kilometers ahead of the tourist place of Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir. What sets apart this terrorist attack from the earlier ones are two main reasons. One, the terrorists killed the tourists based on religious profiling. The men were told to strip down their trousers, and then they were killed at point blank range after ascertaining their religion. And two, for the first time ever since terrorism set in Jammu and Kashmir from end 1989, have the tourists been targeted in such a big manner. As unwritten rule, the terrorists never struck at tourists because tourists are the backbone of the Jammu and Kashmir economy. The people of Jammu and Kashmir earn a lot because of tourism. Hence, the tourists were generally not touched in the last 36 years of terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. But this time, this unwritten rule too was broken by the terrorists. Now, these four terrorists had with them also an American M4 rifle, which is one of the most advanced weapons of this caliber. And later, it was ascertained that for communication, they were using two Chinese satellite phones. These terrorists had carried out the reconnaissance in Pelgam from 1st to 7th April. That day, when the terror attack happened, the US Vice President J.D. Vance was on a visit to India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was on a visit to Saudi Arabia. And after the attack happened, Prime Minister Modi cancelled his ongoing trip to Saudi Arabia and flew back to India immediately. Home Minister Amit Shah air-dashed from Delhi to Srinagar for the necessary arrangements post this terror attack. Well, the anger, the rage in every Indian citizen was boiling after the news of this terrorist attack came. Next day, on the 23rd April, under the stewardship of Prime Minister Modi, the Cabinet Committee on Security was held. And this comes to my second phase of the talk, that is India's immediate response. So the very next day, the Cabinet Committee on Security meeting was held, in which 5 important decisions were taken. Among them, the most important was the suspension of the Indus Water Treaty, which was signed in 1960, and it spoke about the sharing of waters of the 6 rivers between India and Pakistan. So this treaty was suspended with immediate effect. The strength of the Pakistani High Commission in India was reduced from 55 to 30 persons. The defense attaches of Pakistan in India were declared persona non grata and to move back. The integrated checkpost at Atari, near Amritsar, was closed with immediate effect, and all Pakistanis on visas in India were told to go back. Well, the first step was very strong and stern, but still the anger in the Indian public was not coming down. Rather, it was increasing with each passing day, and it was clear that sooner or later, a military action would be done by India. And I now come to the phase 3 of my talk, that is Operation Sindoor. On 7th of May, in the early morning hours at 1:05 a.m., India struck at 9 terrorist targets in Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir and Pakistan. This operation lasted for 25 minutes. By 1:30 a.m., this operation was over, and 9 terrorist training centers of Pakistan were destroyed in totality. This operation named as Operation Sindoor, was quite different from the earlier surgical strikes carried out by India, two of which are in the public domain: the Uri surgical strike of 2016 and the Balakot surgical strike of 2019. In the earlier two surgical strikes, only one terrorist training camp was targeted, and that too in Pakistan occupied Jammu Kashmir, when our special forces or the Indian Air Force, in case of Balakot, they went across the line of control. But Operation Sindoor targeted 9 terrorist training camps, 5 in Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and 4 in main Pakistan, in the Punjab province of Pakistan. The Indian military did not cross the line of control or the international border, and Rafale fighter jets with beyond visual range were used to target these 9 spots, apart from Scud missiles, hammer missiles, and loitering munitions. But the LOC or the international border was not crossed. Also, what set apart this strike by India was that it targeted at the heart of the terrorist training centers, be it Masjid Subhanallah in Bhawalpur, the main training center of Jaish-e-Mohammed, or Markiz-e-Taiba in Murid-Ke, the main training center of Lashkar-e-Taiba. Late in the day, on 7th May, at 10:30 a.m., India carried out its first press briefing, in which the name Operation Sindoor was revealed, brief operation details given, and the name Operation Sindoor immediately struck a chord with every Indian citizen. Because in India, Sindoor represents the married woman who puts it on her forehead. And in the Pelgam terrorist attack, the terrorist had destroyed the lives of 26 married women. So it was an apt and appropriate name and a befitting reply given to Pakistan, who for long has been sponsoring terrorism against India. Well, it was expected that Pakistan would retaliate and counterattack. You know, in the Indian Army, we are taught that Pakistan always retaliates and strikes back very soon. So the Indian Army is well prepared for such an eventuality. This time too, we were very well prepared. This comes to the phase 4 of my talk, that is Operation Bunyan al-Marsus. Now, before I come to phase 4, I would like to tell you the 9 targets which were targeted by India during the early morning hours of 7th May. One is Masjid Subhanallah, which I just talked about, Markiz-e-Taiba, Muzaffarabad Outpost, Sialkot Safe House, Narowal Training Camp, Kotli Weapon Depot, Chakwal Communication Hub, Rawalpindi Suburb Factory, and the Lahore outskirts anti-drill site. So coming on to phase 4, like I said, India was prepared for Pakistan's retaliation. 7th evening was uneasy calm. 8th daytime, the uneasy calm continued. And on 8th evening, Pakistan struck. Over the next 2 nights, that is on 8th and 9th May, Pakistan unleashed about 600 drones, including the famous TB2 Bayraktar drones, which had given Ukraine a lot of advantage in the early days of the Russia-Ukraine war. But the Indian side were pretty well prepared. With a strong integrated air defense system, each of these 600 drones were shot down in the nights of 8th and 9th May. India used the Russian S-400 air defense system, the Barak 8 Israeli air defense system, indigenously developed Akash air defense system, Akash Steer, which has recently been inducted, the L-70 air defense guns, the Zu-23 air defense guns. So overall, it was a very well integrated air defense system which India had. And we were so successful in thwarting the Pakistani drone and missile attack that not a single Indian military or civilian target suffered even the slightest damage. But then, after the drone attack on 8th evening, India retaliated with full force and fury, and India targeted 11 air bases of the Pakistani Air Force. Pakistan has got 13 Air Force bases. Out of 13, 11 were targeted on the nights of 8th and 9th May. And 20% of the Pakistani Air Force infrastructure was destroyed. Viewers, I would like to tell you, in all the press briefings carried out by India and Pakistan from 7th May onwards, India in every press briefing gave evidence of the destruction that India carried out in Pakistan. Verifiable evidences. But what Pakistan did in each of the press briefing was that they gave concocted and false information about destruction in India, which on little reality check were found to be totally fake and false. Now, Pakistan's Operation Bunyan al-Marsoos, which means unbreakable wall. On 2 nights, like I said, 8th and 9th May, they carried out the drone attack, but they were fully repulsed. On 10th early morning, at 0012 hours or 12:12 a.m., Pakistan fired Al-Fatah 2 missile aimed at New Delhi, the capital of India. This missile was intercepted over the city of Sirsa in Haryana, and it was fully destroyed while in air. Well, now India knew it had to give a more stronger reply. At 12:54 a.m. or 0054 hours, Indian Air Force struck at Kirana Hills, which is in Sargodha district of Pakistan. This is the place where a part of the Pakistani nuclear weapons are kept. And also some of the American nuclear weapons are kept. As we all know, USA has got its nuclear weapons in various countries. For example, Turkey and Pakistan too. So this nuclear weapons site in Kirana Hills was targeted by the Indian Air Force at 0054 hours on early 10th May morning. At 1:44 a.m., an earthquake shook Kirana Hills, which measured 4.0 on the Richter scale. And 15 minutes later, at 1:59 a.m., another earthquake shook Kirana Hills, which measured 4.7 on the Richter scale. Now, I've done my MTech in structures from IIT. I can tell you that when a natural earthquake comes, there are aftershocks after the mother earthquake, but the aftershocks intensity is much lesser than the intensity of the mother earthquake. But in this case, the first earthquake at 1:44 a.m. was of 4.0 on the Richter scale, and the second earthquake 15 minutes later was 4.7 on the Richter scale. This means the second earthquake was bigger in intensity than the first earthquake, which cannot happen under natural reasons and causes, thereby signaling something big had happened in Kirana Hills. Well, the Pakistani establishment, the army, the government got so rattled that as turn of events that day would prove, they had no option but to seek a ceasefire with India. Now, what happened after the Kirana Hills was struck by the Indian Air Force? Like I said, two earthquakes came one after the other. The second one bigger in intensity than the first one. At 0800 hours, an American Beechcraft B-350 AMS of the US Department of Energy. This aircraft was seen flying over Kirana Hills. This aircraft has got facility to monitor radiation levels. Half an hour later, at 8:30 a.m., an Egyptian aircraft bearing number EGY1916 landed in Rawalpindi Air Base carrying boron. Now, boron is a chemical which is used in areas where nuclear or chemical radiation occurs to bring down the radiation levels. And at 10:38 a.m. on 10th May, the Pakistani Army Director General of Military Operations sent a message on hotline to the Indian Army Director General of Military Operations for a talk on the hotline. The time between the two DGMOs of India and Pakistan was fixed at 3:35 p.m. that afternoon. And in the talk between the two Director General Military Operations of India and Pakistan that day at 3:35 p.m., it was decided that ceasefire would come into effect at 5 p.m. the same day. Now, what prompted the ceasefire call by the Pakistani or the request by the Pakistani side was, of course, the nuclear base had been hit, where a bulk of their nuclear weapons are kept. Secondly, part of the American nuclear weapons are kept there. Else, why would America try for a ceasefire when on 25th April, Donald Trump had said in a statement on both the Air Force One that India and Pakistan are both good friends of Donald Trump and it is a issue between them. And few days later, when Operation Sindoor was in full swing, the American Vice President J.D. Vance said that it is none of the American business in what is happening between India and Pakistan. Clearly, Kirana Hills strike shook not only Pakistan, it shook America too. Another reason for the ceasefire request by Pakistan was the Indian Navy was already operationally deployed in the Arabian Sea and was about to destroy the Karachi seaport. Well, Pakistan knew that any strike by the Indian Navy would have far-reaching consequences. Already Kirana Hills had been struck. And if Karachi port too was destroyed by the Indian Navy, it would have been a big loss of face for the Pakistan Army and the Pakistan government. Hence the request for the ceasefire at 10:38 a.m. on 10th May. Well, coming on to my fifth phase of the talk, the outcomes. Now, there have been several important outcomes of this 88-hour India-Pakistan conflict that started at 1:05 a.m. on 7th May and when the ceasefire came into effect at 5 p.m. on 10th May. The first outcome is it was a complete military success for India. India did not lose any fighter aircraft. No S-400 air defense system of India got destroyed. No Indian military or civil installation was destroyed or even damaged to any extent because of what I told you earlier, the strong integrated air defense system of India. The second outcome is that Pakistan's nuclear bogey got demolished. In the past, many a times India did not take strong action on Pakistan for the fear of the Pakistan's nuclear bogey. This time, no credence was given to Pakistan's nuclear weapons. Rather, we struck at Pakistan nuclear weapons in Kirana Hills. For the first time, Pakistan got a very high return of investment for sponsoring terrorism in India. Like I said earlier, we targeted 9 terrorist training camps, 5 in POJK, 4 in main Pakistan. And we struck at 11 of the 13 air bases, apart from the damage done on the nuclear weapons in Kirana Hills. One of the important outcomes of this conflict was also that it was a trailer where all 6 domains of warfare were used. Viewers, till some time back, warfare was in 3 domains only: land, sea, and air. But the modern warfare is and will be in 6 domains: land, sea, air, cyber, electromagnetic spectrum, and space. And this Operation Sindoor saw it happening in all the 6 domains of modern warfare. About cyber, I would like to tell you, on a normal peacetime mode, the government of India deploys 15 to 20 counter cyber attack teams. But during this 88-hour Operation Sindoor, the numbers were increased 3 times to 55 to 60 cyber teams, because such was the intensity of cyber attacks happening on India from 6 countries, which includes Pakistan, of course. And also, the last outcome, this Operation Sindoor was a trailer of the two-front war that Pakistan and China will wage in 2035, which is exactly a decade away. Coming on to the last phase of my talk, that is the road ahead. Well, definitely the arms race in South Asia will increase exponentially. Like I said, it has been a trailer for the two-front war, which is a decade away. So definitely a lot of lessons learned by both the sides will be put into practice, because the next big military duel is the two-front war, which China and Pakistan will wage on India in 2035. On 17th March this year, General Upendra Dwivedi, the Chief Army Staff of the Indian Army, said in a statement that two-front war is no longer a possibility for India. It is a reality for India, unquote. So we got a brief picture of how the modern warfare, modern wars will happen. In India, there are only 4 defense analysts, which includes your truly, which since 22nd April have been saying that there'll be no full-fledged war between India and Pakistan post the Pelgam terrorist attack. Well, why I said so is because 3 important international events occurred soon after the Pelgam terrorist attack, which convinced me a full-fledged war will not happen. One, on 25th April, US President Donald Trump said that both India and Pakistan are good friends of USA, and it is an internal matter between the 2 countries. So USA had washed its hands off both India and Pakistan. The next day, on 26th April, there was a strongly worded resolution to be passed in the United Nations Security Council on the Pelgam terrorist attack, which was diluted and watered down by China and Pakistan. And USA and Russia did not come to the assistance of India. And the next day, on 27th April, the Chinese foreign minister rang up the Pakistani foreign minister and assured full military support to Pakistan in case Pakistan's sovereignty is breached. Clearly, all the three superpowers were with Pakistan or are still with Pakistan. We have seen how during the ongoing Operation Sindoor, which was in full force and fury, Pakistan still managed to get a 2.4 billion American dollars loan from the International Monetary Fund. Well, Pakistan is the only country in the world which has got good relations with all the three superpowers. And finally, I come to the conclusion of my talk today. India achieved great military success in this short and swift 88-hour Operation Sindoor. It has been a great military victory for India. India also demonstrated to the world how good our military planning, how good our military strikes are. We achieved three major things in Operation Sindoor. One is strategic delay, strategic deception, and strategic destruction. Pakistan had never imagined we would strike on their terrorist training camps in main Pakistan, or we would strike at the air bases or the nuclear installation Kirana Hills. India did all that. Thank you, viewers. I come to the end of my first solo talk on facts and figures. Like I said earlier, please do like the program, share it maximum, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and most important, give your comments because they're the most valuable for me. Thank you and Jai Hind.